All right, so today we're tackling a huge question.
Mm-hmm.
How did we go from like little tribes around the fire to empires that span continents?
Right.
And I think the sources you sent over about belief systems are going to help us unlock this.
Yeah, they're key.
Because it's not just history, it's like, how do humans make meaning?
Exactly.
Like, how do we figure out our purpose?
And it's really interesting to see how those really early stories humans told,
Yeah.
like they were trying to figure out the world.
Right.
And that laid the groundwork for the really complicated societies we have today.
Yeah, because think about it. There's no science back then.
Right.
Like you see a thunderstorm, you hear a wolf howling at night.
Oh, yeah.
Like our ancestors needed some way to make sense of it all.
And that's where those myths come in.
Right.
What we might think of as superstition now.
Oh, yeah.
They were actually a pretty smart way to try to understand what was going on.
Yeah, like animism.
Exactly.
The idea that everything's got a spirit, from rocks to rivers.
Yeah, and it's not just about being scared of what you don't know.
Right.
It's about this feeling of being connected to nature.
Right.
Which is actually something we see coming back today with environmentalism.
Yeah, it's like they had this built-in sustainability, this respect for nature. But the myths weren't just explaining things, they were shaping how people acted too, right?
Absolutely.
Like it was the first how to live guide.
Think about it. They were like moral compasses.
Yeah.
They told you what would happen if you did bad things. And they celebrated heroes who had the right values.
Right.
So they shaped people and then whole communities.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that we're still doing the same thing today.
We are.
Just with different stories.
Okay, so we've got these small groups with their beliefs and powerful myths.
Yeah.
But things change, right?
They do.
Like we start seeing organized religion pop up with temples, priests, and whole systems of belief.
That's a big turning point.
It is.
As societies got bigger and more complicated, they needed new ways to organize themselves.
Right.
And the interesting thing is it wasn't just about spiritual needs.
What do you mean?
It was about practical things, too.
So you're saying religion helped start cities?
It's not quite that simple.
Okay.
But think about ancient Mesopotamia,
Okay.
one of the first civilizations.
Yeah.
Temples weren't just for worship.
Right.
They were economic centers, places to learn. They often had political power.
So like Hammurabi's code,
Exactly.
those laws weren't just rules.
Right.
They were supposed to come from the gods.
Right.
So breaking the law wasn't just bad for you here.
Yeah.
It was like messing with the gods, too.
You'd make them angry.
That's some serious motivation to follow the rule.
It is. Makes you wonder if that made them more effective.
It probably did.
It makes you think about all the ways societies have used beliefs to get people to work together.
It does. And speaking of power, let's talk about Egypt. They took the divinely ordained ruler idea to a whole other level.
They did.
With pharaohs.
God kings.
Right, not just kings.
God kings.
Yeah. But it wasn't as if they just felt like Zeus every day.
Okay.
Their divinity was tied to specific rituals and roles.
I see.
Especially their link to the afterlife.
Right.
And that belief that the pharaoh was a link between us and the gods, it really shaped Egyptian society.
And think about the pyramids.
It's incredible.
All those people working for decades.
Yeah.
Not because they were forced to,
Right.
but because they believed they were making sure the pharaoh would get to the afterlife and that the kingdom would be okay.
It's amazing.
It shows just how powerful shared beliefs are.
They can motivate people to do incredible things.
What are the pyramids of today?
That's a great question.
What projects, what movements get people that fired up today?
Yeah, what do we put that much effort into?
That is a great question.
It is.
Okay, so from the god kings of Egypt, let's hop over to ancient Greece.
They had a whole bunch of gods.
They did.
Who were, let's just say, a bit more relatable.
A bit more human.
Yeah, you've got Zeus with his lightning bolts.
Right.
Athena, all about wisdom. Aphrodite, stirring up love and beauty.
It's a whole drama up on Mount Olympus.
It is a total soap opera.
It is.
But these stories, these myths about these flawed gods, they weren't just entertainment.
No, they weren't.
They were woven into everything for the Greeks.
Absolutely.
So you're saying these weren't just bedtime stories?
No.
They were like their whole way of seeing the world.
Yeah, how they understood everything.
How did that work in everyday life, though?
We'll take the Olympics.
Okay.
We think of them as this big sporting event.
Right?
But originally, they were religious festivals for Zeus.
Wow.
Every race, every javelin throw was an offering to him.
That It changes how I see the Olympics.
It's amazing how much these ancient beliefs still affect us today.
Yeah, they echo through time. And speaking of echoes, let's talk about Rome. They borrowed a lot from Greek mythology.
They did.
But they were really good at using it for politics.
Oh, yeah, they were masters at that.
Like emperors would tie themselves to certain gods.
To make their rules seem legitimate.
To boost their authority.
Exactly, like Augustus linked himself with Apollo.
Oh, yeah, the god of light and reason.
So he looked like a bringer of peace and prosperity.
It's a tactic people still use today.
Oh, yeah. Different form, but same idea.
It's like they understood the power of a good story.
Yeah, how it can change what people believe.
But then things take a big turn.
They do.
With monotheism.
Mm-hmm.
Judaism comes along with this radical idea of one God.
It was so different from the polytheistic world before it.
So different.
Like night and day.
And that idea had a huge impact.
A massive impact, not just on Judaism.
But on Christianity and Islam, too.
Exactly.
And we can't forget the social side of it.
Oh, right.
That idea that all people are equal before God.
It was so radical back then.
It really was.
It's like the seed for social justice movements that are still going strong today.
It makes you wonder how much these ancient beliefs about equality and justice, how much they shape the world we live in now.
It's a fascinating question.
It is. Okay, so we've covered Egypt, Greece, Rome, and the rise of monotheism.
We have covered a lot of ground.
That's a lot. Where to next on our belief systems tour?
Well, you can't talk about empires built on faith without mentioning Persia.
Okay.
And Zoroastrianism.
I'm not that familiar with that one.
This religion was all about good versus evil.
Okay.
This epic battle.
I can see how that would resonate with people.
Yeah, it shaped a huge empire and influenced a lot of later belief systems.
But this is where it gets tricky, right?
What do you mean?
Religion being used for control.
Oh, right.
Empires aren't always the good guys.
That's true. And throughout history, we see leaders saying they have divine right to justify what they do, whether it's building stuff
or going to war.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's the whole belief, power, leadership thing.
That's complicated.
So how do we separate the good from the bad when it comes to belief?
Right. Because it can unify people.
It can.
But things can go wrong, too.
They really can. So how do we make sure our beliefs are leading to good outcomes?
That's the million-dollar question.
For ourselves and for everyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're all building our own pyramids in a way.
Right. But those pyramids, the real ones and the ones we build with our beliefs, they weren't always built for good reasons.
Where?
Like we talked about empires using religion to do some pretty terrible things.
Yeah, that's the dark side of it.
It is. So it really highlights that belief's a tool.
It is.
And like any tool can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly.
So the question is, how do we make sure our beliefs are leading us in the right direction?
It's a tough one.
It is. Okay, so ancient cultures had myths and gods to explain the universe.
Right, to make sense of it all.
What do we have today?
Well, we have science.
Right.
We have technology.
Yeah.
Those are huge forces shaping how we see the world.
They really are.
But we also have philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
Political ideologies, social movements. These are all frameworks for understanding our experiences.
Like ancient myths, just in a different form.
Exactly.
So we've traded Zeus for political parties and spirits for algorithm.
In a way, yeah.
But we haven't lost that need for meaning, right?
No, not at all.
For something bigger than ourselves.
It seems to be a part of who we are as humans.
We want purpose connection, a sense of belonging.
Right.
And all these belief systems, they help us find that.
They do.
Here's something I've always wondered.
What's that?
If belief is so powerful, how do we know what to believe?
That is the question.
There's so much information out there.
Oh, yeah.
How do we avoid falling for harmful ideas or just plain lies?
That's where critical thinking comes in.
Critical thinking.
It's not about rejecting everything you hear.
Okay.
It's about looking at information carefully.
Right.
Questioning things.
Yeah.
Checking the evidence, considering different viewpoints.
So it's not just about what you believe, but how you come to believe it.
Exactly.
You have to be active in creating your own worldview.
Right, not just passively taking in whatever comes your way.
That makes sense, but if I'm being honest, it sounds like a lot of work.
It can be.
Do we really have to question everything all the time?
Well, you don't have to be suspicious of every single thing you see.
Okay.
But learning to think critically, it could be really empowering.
How so?
It helps you make better decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize biases and have more thoughtful discussions.
Okay, you've convinced me.
Good.
So how do we actually do it?
How do we put critical thinking into practice?
Yeah, where do we even start?
I'd say start with looking at yourself.
Okay.
What are your biases?
Right.
Where do your beliefs come from?
Mm-hmm.
What assumptions are you making?
So know thyself.
Exactly. Once you understand your own starting point,
Yeah.
you can look at other perspectives more objectively.
Okay, step 1, know thyself. What's step 2?
Step 2 is getting information from lots of different sources.
Okay.
Don't just stick with things that confirm what you already believe.
So don't get stuck in an echo chamber.
Exactly.
Got it.
The more perspectives you're exposed to,
Yeah.
the better you understand things.
All right.
And the better you can form your own conclusions.
Makes sense. What about step 3?
Step 3 is all about the evidence.
Evidence.
What are the facts?
Right.
Are the sources reliable?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any logical fallacies or biases going on?
It's like being a detective.
It is. You're looking for clues.
Trying to figure out what's really going on.
Exactly.
So it's about approaching belief with a questioning mind.
Right.
Not just blindly accepting everything we're told.
That's the key.
It's about shaping our own worldview.
Yeah, being active participants.
I have to say, this is making me rethink a lot of things.
That's good.
It's kind of amazing to realize we have the power to choose what we believe.
It is. It's a big responsibility.
It is, and that's what makes all this so interesting.
It is.
We're always changing, learning, adapting our beliefs as we go through life.
It's a journey.
It is. Okay, I have to ask, have you ever had a moment where your own beliefs were totally challenged?
Oh, yeah.
Where you had to reevaluate everything?
Many times.
Really?
And those are the moments that make you grow.
I can see that.
Being willing to question yourself, to be open to new information,
Mm-hmm.
that's what intellectual honesty is all about.
Wow, so we've gone from ancient myths to modern ideologies.
Oh, yeah.
From pyramids to the internet.
Yeah, it's quite a journey.
It really is, and it's clear belief is a part of everything humans do.
It's a constant thread through history.
But where do we go from here?
That's the big question.
What does the future of belief look like?
Well, as long as humans are around,
Right.
I think we'll keep asking the big questions.
Yeah.
Keep searching for meaning and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to connect with something bigger than ourselves.
Will we be worshiping AI gods in the future?
Maybe.
Will we upload our beliefs to the cloud?
It's possible.
I mean, it's both exciting and scary.
It is. The future of belief will probably be just as diverse and complicated as we are.
That makes sense.
As technology changes and we learn more about the world,
Yeah.
our belief systems will change too.
It's an unpredictable journey.
It really is.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Glad I could help.
We've covered so much today.
We have.
From the beginning of belief to the future of humanity.
It's a big topic.
It is. But before we wrap things up, I have to ask.
What's that?
What's one belief you hold dear?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
Something that really guides you and inspires you. If I had to pick one, I'd say it's the power of human connection.
Human connection.
Yeah, I really believe that our ability to connect with each other, to empathize, to build communities, that's what makes us human.
That's beautiful. And honestly, after all this,
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little more hopeful about the future myself.
That's good.
It reminds me that even with all the problems and complications, there's still so much good out there.
I agree. At its core, belief is about hope,
Yeah.
about wanting something better. It's
Yeah.
about recognizing our shared humanity and working together to make the world a better place.
Well said. All right, folks, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of belief.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has, but before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought. What if you could design a belief system
Oh, wow.
for a better world? What would be at the heart of it?
Yeah.
What stories would it tell?
That's a big question.
It's worth thinking about, though, right?
It really is, because in the end,
Yeah,
we get to choose what we believe.
we do.
And those beliefs, they shape what we do.
Right.
We're not just stuck with whatever traditions we inherit.
Right.
We're actively shaping the future of belief.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's not about having all the answers.
Mhm.
It's about asking the right questions.
All right.
Being curious and open to different ways of seeing things.
Yeah. And maybe in that process of questioning and exploring,
Mm-hmm.
we'll build something better.
Those metaphorical pyramids of a better future.
Maybe we already are.
Yeah.
Every act of kindness, every step towards justice,
Yeah.
every creative spark,
Right.
those are all building blocks.
They are. I want to thank you for taking this deep dive with us.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
It's been an amazing journey through the world of belief.
Yeah. From those early myths to the ideologies we have today.
And to all of you listening out there, remember, The story of belief isn't over.
No, it's not.
It's happening all around us every single day.
Every day.
So keep believing.
Keep questioning.
And keep exploring.
Yeah. You never know what you might find.
You really don't. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.